Everyone warned him, but he didn't listen. The signs were there. The people who cared tried to warn him, but he brushed them off, thinking he knew better.
He thought it would be different. He thought he could handle it. And then, one night, it all came crashing down. Life has a way of giving us signs. Small, subtle signs. We see them, but we often ignore them, because we think we're invincible. We think we can control everything, until, one day, we realize it's too late to change anything. This is one of those stories. A story about a man who thought he could outrun fate until fate caught up with him. David was always the type of guy who lived on the edge, the kind of guy who loved risk, the kind who thought he could take on anything, anyone. He was 30, had a good job, a nice apartment, and the world seemed to be his oyster. He had everything, or so he thought. But the problem with David was his arrogance. He didn't listen. He didn't listen when his friends told him to slow down. He didn't listen when his mom begged him to be careful. He didn't even listen to his own gut, which kept whispering, "Don't do this." David thought he was invincible. He was playing with fire, and he never expected to get burned. It started with small things, the missed calls, the messages that went unanswered, the just one more drink that turned into several.
One night, his best friend Josh called him up, his voice serious.
David, man, you've been pushing it lately. You're spiraling.
David laughed it off.
Relax, Josh. I've got it under control.
But Josh wasn't convinced. He'd seen it before. He knew what it looked like when someone was headed down a dangerous path. But David didn't listen. "David, you need to be careful. I've been praying for you, but I can't keep worrying like this. It's not good for you." Again, David brushed it off. "Mom, you're overreacting." But deep down, he could feel the weight of her words, like they were trying to anchor him to reality. He didn't listen. It was a Friday night when it all went wrong. David was at a club with friends, living it up, as usual. His head was buzzing, his confidence was at an all-time high. He was having the time of his life, but he wasn't thinking straight. A guy at the bar, someone David didn't know, bumped into him. It was an accident, but the guy didn't apologize. David stared at him, his blood starting to boil. The alcohol made it worse. Before anyone could stop him, David threw a punch. The bar went silent for a moment. The guy didn't react the way David expected. Instead of backing off, he stood there, fists clenched. The tension in the air was palpable. David didn't care. He was ready to fight. But Josh grabbed him, pulling him back.
David, don't do it! Walk away!
But David didn't listen. He pushed Josh away and turned back to the guy. What happened next felt like it all happened in slow motion. The other guy took a swing, landing a blow to David's jaw. The pain was immediate. David stumbled back, dizzy. Then came the sound of the bottle smashing, a hard hit to the side of his head, and then blackness. When David woke up, he was in a hospital bed. The beeping of machines around him, the sterile smell of antiseptic. His mom was sitting by his side, her eyes red, swollen from crying. She didn't say anything at first. She just looked at him, her face a mixture of pain and disappointment. David didn't understand. He felt dizzy, his head pounding.
Mom? He whispered, his voice hoarse.
"David, you don't listen to anyone. Not me, not your friends, not anyone." He opened his mouth to protest, but no words came out. The guilt was suffocating.
You're lucky to be alive, man. You're lucky you didn't die tonight.
David didn't say anything. He knew Josh was right. For the first time in a long time, David wasn't sure who he was anymore. Who had he become? What had he let himself turn into? David spent the next few days in the hospital, recovering. But the physical wounds weren't the worst of it. The emotional scars were the ones that would stay forever. The truth hit him like a freight train. He had been living a life of recklessness, ignoring every warning, every sign, every person who tried to help. He had pushed everyone away, believing he knew better. And now, he was paying the price. He couldn't help but think about everything he'd lost. His friendships, his trust, the people who cared about him, the opportunities that slipped through his fingers. David left the hospital a changed man. But the scars weren't gone. He knew he'd never be the same. It wasn't just about the physical pain. It was about the consequences of his choices, the damage he had done to the people who had always been there for him. And the one thing he could never get back: time. He had learned the hard way that no matter how invincible we feel, no one can outrun their choices forever. Some mistakes, once made, are irreversible. If you've ever been warned and ignored the signs, this story might feel a little too familiar, because some lessons are only learned the hard way. Subscribe to Hidden Chapters for more emotional, life-changing stories. And if this story made you think about the choices you're making, leave a comment below. What's the one thing you'd do differently?